Hello everyone and welcome back to Pixel Sheets. Today we're diving into if-error formulas. So if you're doing a spreadsheet, I'm sure you've run into a situation where you have either run a VLOOKUP, some other sort of formula, and it's turned into an error. So for instance, we have a sheet here that has content, fruits and vegetables, and some random numbers in here. I'm using a simple VLOOKUP formula to return a value. If I put in anything I want, the value changes. As you know, VLOOKUPs work. Now let's say I get an error and I do not want it to display the error. So there's a couple of different ways of doing this. One is you can just have a cell value with an if error tell you it's an error, or you can return a value that's an error as a different result. So I will show you how the formula works, and then we're going to combine it with the VLOOKUP formula to give an alternate result. So for instance, underneath here, you have apple 59. We're going to put a formula in here, equals IFERROR. Be sure to spell it correctly with all of the R's in there. Otherwise, the if error will also create an error if you do not spell it right. So what's the value that we want to look up? So in this case, we're just going to reference this cell here because we know it's a formula. And if errors have two criteria to them, the value and then the value of an error. So we're going to look up that, or reference the VLOOKUP formula, separated by a comma. Value of error, we're just going to say error here. And I'm putting in quotations because I just wanted to return the text string to say error here. Now, because we're referencing this cell within the if error, it is saying the value of, in this case, I4, or error here. And it's returning 59 as it should. Now, if I come over here, and it's saying apple 59, it's finding on this sheet, and I just remove the word apple, it should error out. And it does. So here's where the if error is performing properly, and it's saying your text, error here, because up here there is an error. That is exactly as complex as the if error formula is to return a different value. Now let's say you want to do this a little differently, and you want to have this VLOOKUP not return an error, but control the if error within it. What we're going to do here is we're going to nest the VLOOKUP formula within the if error. So there's a couple different ways of doing it. One, when you're getting more comfortable, is you can type them within, type in if error, reference the V, or put in the VLOOKUP formula, comma, comma, etc., etc. Or you can take a cheating way almost and say, all right, well, I have my formula here that's referencing I4 in my if error. This is I4. I'm going to take the content from I4, which is my formula, not the equal sign, because we're going to nest it. And I'm just going to replace I4 with that formula. And here's your result. Now, I'm just going to clear that out to not add confusion. But here's what you get as a result. If it finds the value, in the case this if error, for the VLOOKUP, it'll return 59. If it doesn't find it, it'll say error here. Obviously this is offset, so I just would drag that up there, or copy the value. You do not want to drag it, because if you're dragging, I do not have dollar signs around. The range will be fine because the range is the range, but I do not have dollar signs around the reference cell. So then instead of it looking at apple, it would start looking at the cell up here. So make sure that if you're doing that kind of thing, that you either take the cell itself and drag it, or highlight the content within and paste it. As you can see, I'm ready to paste it up here, and it's still referencing down there. So the other items you can do, with an if error is, let's say you have a spreadsheet with a lot of numbers and you're graphing out the numbers, and you have some VLOOKUPs that are returning error values. You can if error the cells themselves, or you can have it return in a chart something like a couple of dashes to say is an error. Or even as simple as, instead of the dashes in there, you just put nothing and it returns no value. I prefer to have a value to make sure that there was something there. I don't have to reference it to say, oh gosh, did my formula get wiped out and cleaned, and it's not any different than I3 above where it's blank, that actually has some value there. So I like to put in some sort of value, whether it's 2 dashes, NA, whatever it is. It doesn't look like it's a broken formula. So that is the other nice thing about if errors, is it makes your spreadsheets presentable without having to do a lot of manual cleanup. Is you can throw if error formulas on pretty much everything, that as long as you know that your formula was working properly, because an if error will not tell you that your nested formula is working, because if your nested formula is going to return an error just naturally because it's not typed in properly, the if error is still going to say, well, I'm cleaning that up and I'm going to replace it with whatever characters that you've provided. So, thank you for watching. I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more tips and tricks. Until next time, happy spreadsheeting.